I think my understanding of pain that won't resolve, like the difference between knowing about pain and knowing about chronic pain and people who have chronic pain, because I have a number of friends who have chronic pain. And part of my attitude was feeling sorry for them, or, gee, that's unfortunate. But I'm sure somewhere in the back of my head there was also this thought, well, okay, move on, like get over it. But now that I have chronic pain, I've been humbled into understanding a little bit more about what that means. And I think it can be very limiting, and I think you have to really plan your life in a way that you might not plan it before. Now that I'm in a situation where there's chronic pain and my knee is holding me up, the way I'm walking and what I'm doing is also affecting the other side of my body and my back, so it's leading to another issue. I have to sort of pace myself in a way that I'm not used to, and so again, that for me is very humbling and frustrating. And so I think I have a bit more understanding now of people who live with chronic pain, and maybe hopefully more compassion towards them. Okay, so I think one of the frustrating things is not knowing exactly what's going on. I know that, at least 10 years ago, my physician said, oh, you'll be a candidate for knee replacements in your 60s. And at that point, I was like, yeah, right, okay, move on. And I would get sore knees, and they would swell up because she told me I don't have any cartilage. So I could take like one pill, and it would get me back into the swing of things. But when this condition started sometime in August and then got progressively worse, I took a couple of the medications that she suggested because I kept it on hand, and it didn't do anything. So when I went to see her, she said, okay, that's because you're using it as pain medication. Now I want you to use it as an anti-inflammatory. So I want you to take it twice a day for 2 weeks, which I did, and it didn't really do anything. And of course, the frustrating part was being awake all night with it, on and off. So they switched medications, and that seemed to help. It seemed to bring the swelling down. But I still don't really have a full diagnosis. I did have x-rays done, both lying down x-rays and weight-bearing x-rays. And then I went and had an MRI done. And the problem is I also have another complication. I don't know if I told you this. I have a complication that I have a sewing needle in my knee. And that has actually affected the reading of the MRI. So I don't think the report has reached my doctor yet, but who knows where it's going to lead. It could lead, if they can't read the MRI, it might lead to an exploratory surgery, or maybe he can read the MRI and then we'll find out what the problem is. It's very frustrating, and I think it's probably a lesson for me in a larger scheme of life, because it's humbling. And because I am a doer, I'm okay, here's the task, here's the list, let's get it done, let's move on. It's making me stop and reevaluate what's really important in life, and what really has to get done. So you have to learn where to conserve your energy. I think that's really important. Like I said earlier, it's very humbling because you realize that you can't do it all, and maybe there's a lesson in that, that you're not supposed to do it all. I think mindfulness has really helped me, and meditation, a certain kind of breathing. Even when I had the MRI done, you have to stay very still. It's very loud, and you're sort of trapped. So I found myself, besides doing about 10 decades of the Rosary, I found myself doing breathing in hope and breathing out pain, and that's the words that I would breathe in hope, I'd breathe out pain. Breathe in hope, breathe out pain. And that really did help, because I think when you are in chronic pain, or when you have that kind of pain, everything else tenses up, which leads to pain, So I think if you can sort of, for me anyway, if I can kind of relax into the pain and maybe accept it rather than fight it, it's made it a little easier to cope with. I think fear about the unknown and fear of not knowing how it's going to end is present, but I'm trying not to concentrate on that, because I don't think that's going to be very helpful. Certainly there's fear of, like, what if there's surgery? How long is it going to take to recover? My daughter's expecting twins in 2 weeks, like I'm supposed to be the mom who's there to help, but then you sort of stop and take a breath, and so, okay, one day at a time, do what you can today. Try not to freak out that you can't do everything. And so yeah, sure fear's been present, but I'm trying not to let it be the overriding approach to life, because I think that's not going to help. My overriding approach is to try to be more compassionate towards people who are in pain. My husband has degenerative discs, and so this has been a real eye-opener for me. So I have a friend who is a physician and runs a group for people in pain, mindfulness groups, and I think that's a really valuable thing that he's doing for people who are in pain. I have another friend who's got chronic pain all the time, and my experience with just this little amount of pain certainly has brought me to a greater understanding of her limitations and what she can and cannot do. And it comes back to compassion, to being more understanding of those who are in chronic pain and believing them. Because sometimes when you can't see it, you think, oh, come on. But now I get it, and it's unfortunate that it has to take one's own experience, that raw experience of feeling pain, to understand it. And it's a different kind of, I think the other thing is, I was thinking about my experience of giving birth and the pain of giving birth. And that's a pain that's very intense, and my experience with it was I could not be anywhere else but in the present moment. I couldn't be in the past, I couldn't be in the future. I had to be right there. But this kind of pain is different, because at least with the giving birth pain, there's something at the end of it that's going to be this positive experience. At least that's what you're praying and hoping for. Whereas this kind of pain is a chronic, sort of defining you type of pain that can limit your life experience. And I think that's the other thing that's so frustrating. And I guess that's the thing that brings fear up, because you think, am I going to be limited forever like this? Or, wow, so I'm 61 and this is what it's like. What the heck's going to be like when I'm 82? That's a bit of a worry. So hopefully somebody will be able to get the knee fixed and it will move on. But hopefully in all of this experience, I will have learned to be just a bit more understanding, a bit more listening, a bit more aware of people who are in chronic pain. I've been fortunate in that I have had support and people around me, and I think part of it is because my pain's visible, because I can't walk straight. So again, that allows people to be a little bit more understanding than somebody who's got pain that's not visible. That invisible pain is horrible, I think. So I've had people who be very supportive, though I can see how people might not be if they can't see the pain. And, you can see the pain in me because I can't bend my knee when I go up and down a stair, so it's pretty obvious. So people have been pretty understanding and helpful, but I can see what it'd be like if it wasn't obvious, that it would be very difficult. And then people might think, well, she just wants attention, or, get over it, but you can't get over it when it's encompassing your life.